Hi dear students, welcome back to Gurudeva learning classes. Dear students, in the previous class we were discussing about beautiful story, the fields. Is it? Yes dear children, what we have discussed in the previous class. Shall we recall once? Yes. Many years ago, there were two villages, upper village and the lower village. An old man called Hanansi, he is not a member of upper village and the lower village. Although he was going to both villages to eat there and join singing, dancing and merrymaking in the both villages. Hanansi was very greedy person, also trickster too. One day what happened? There were feasts in the both villages on the same day at the same time. Nancy became in such a fix. It became a trouble situation because there were feasts in the both villages on the same day at the same time. He wanted to go to both feasts without missing, but he cannot go to the two places at the same time. So he became dilemma and he is in such a fix. After he racked his brain to overcome about suitable situation from the problem. After Anansi called his two sons Intikuma and Vikatsin, and he explained about his problem. Anansi explained about his problem to his two sons. After finally Anansi asked his two sons to bring a long and large rope. The obedient boys followed his father's order and they brought the obedient boys. Each one brought long and strong rope. Anansi tied each one end of the rope around his waist. After Anansi called his older son Intikuma, my dear son, take this other end of the rope. You have to hold in your hand with very tight and as fast as you run to the upper village. If they serve the food in the upper village, you have to tug me. You have to tug the rope. I will come fast and I will eat the food. After that, Anansi again gave other one end of the rope, younger son Vikatsin. Again, the Anansi explained that, my dear Vikatsin, take this other end of the rope. You have to hold it very tight and as fast as you go to lower village. If they serve the food, just you have to tug the rope. I will come to there to eat the food. The obedient boys impressed his father words by taking the end of the ropes in their hands. Both of the boys went to the upper village and the lower village in opposite directions by holding the ropes in their hands. Yes dear children, this is we have learnt in the previous class. So today in this class we are going to discuss rest of the paragraphs. So please all of you open your textbook on page number 32. Now I am going to read the second paragraph from page number 32. So please all of you follow me. Yes. Now it is so happened that the feast started in both the villages at the same time. When it began in the upper village, Intikuma tugged the rope in his hand to signal his father to come. At the very same time, Vikatsin tugged his end of the rope, but Hanansi couldn't run either way because as the boys pulled the ropes tightened around his waist. Unaware of what was happening to their father, the boys pulled harder in excitement, and as they pulled, the ropes kept tightening around Hanansi. Hurry up, father! Intikuma shouted. If you don't rush, there will be no food left, warned Cricket Singh. But there was no sign of their father. A crowd had started gathering around them. People were wondering what the boys were doing. The poor boys were embarrassed, but like faithful sons, they did not stop pulling until the feast came to an end. Exhausted, they went back home to find out why their father had not come. On reaching home, a strange and frightening sight met their eyes. The tight ropes around Hanansi's middle had squeezed him completely out of shape. The middle of his body, where the ropes had tightened, was thin as a reed, but above and below the waist, he had puffed out like a balloon. The sad truth was, greedy Hanansi had turned into a spider. Yes, dear children. Intikuma went to the upper village by holding the end of the rope to give signal for his father to come to the upper village. And here, Cricket Singh also went to the lower village by holding the end of the rope to give signal for his father to come to the lower village. After what will happen? Have they pulled the rope and his Anansi go to the upper village and lower village? Shall we discuss today? Yes. Yes, come to the second paragraph from page number 32. Now it is so happened that the feast started in both villages at the same time. When it began in the upper village, Intikuma tugged the rope in his hand to signal to his father to come. At the very same time, Cricket Singh tugged his end of the rope, but Hanansi couldn't run either way because as the boys pulled, the ropes tightened around his waist. Unaware of what was happening to their father, the boys pulled harder in excitement. And as they pulled, the ropes kept tightening around Hanansi. Hurry up, father, Intikuma shouted. If you don't rush, there will be no food left, warned Cricket Singh. But there was no sign of their father. Yes, dear children, when Intikuma went to the upper village and Cricket Singh went to the lower village to give signal for his father to come to the villages, at that time, here is something happened. Here is something happened. That the feast started at the same time in the both villages. The feast had started at the same time in the both villages. When it began in the upper village, Intikuma tugged the rope to give signal for his father to come to the upper village. At the very same time, here when the feast had begun into the lower village, Cricket Singh also tugged the rope. But Anansi couldn't run either way because as the boys pulled the rope had very tightened Anansi's waist. The ropes tightened around Anansi's waist. Because from the upper village, Intikuma had tugged the rope, and from the lower village, Cricket Singh had tugged the rope. When they had tugged the rope, at the same time, here, Anansi could not run either the village because rope had tightened around Anansi's waist. Unaware of what was happening to their father, the boys pulled harder in excitement. They don't unaware. Unaware means having no knowledge of a situation. The boys don't have knowledge about his father. What had happening there. So the boys pulled harder in excitement. The boys tugged the rope in very excitement. And as they pulled the ropes kept tightening around Nancy. When the boys pulled the rope, very excitement in at the same time, the ropes had tightened around Nancy's waist. Here, Intikuma is shouting, "Hurry up, father, hurry up!" By holding the rope, Intikuma is shouting, "Hurry up, father, hurry up!" Here, Quickerson is saying that if you don't be rush, there will be no food left. If you don't rush, if you do not come to here, there will be no food left. Like Intikuma warned to his father, but there was no sign of his father. When they shouted and when they warned their father, there was no sign of his father. No sign means cannot see anywhere. They did not see his father. Why they did not see his father? Because Intikuma and Quickerson has tugged the rope at the same time. When they tugged the rope in very excitement, the rope had tightened around his waist, around Anansi's waist. So Anansi did not go to the both villages. Yes, dear children, after that we have to come to the next paragraph. A crowd had started gathering around them. People were wondering what the boys were doing. The poor boys were embarrassed, but like faithful sons, they did not stop pulling until the feast came to an end. Exhausted, they went back home to find out why their father had not come. On reaching home, a strange and frightening sight met their eyes. The tight ropes around Anansi's middle had squeezed him completely out of shape. The middle of his body, where the ropes had tightened, was thin as a reed, but above and below the waist, he had puffed up like a balloon. The sad truth was greedy, Anansi had turned into a spider. Yes, dear children, when the Intikuma and Quickerson were tugging the rope in the villages, crowd had started gathering around them. Crowd means group of people. People had started to gather around them, and people were wondering what the boys were doing. The people got wondered. They delighted what the boys were doing. After the boys were embarrassed. Embarrassed means to create shame or discomfort. The boys discomfort when the crowd had started to around them. The boys got embarrassed or discomfort. But although the faithful sons did not stop pulling the ropes, the feast came to an end. Until the feast came to an end, the boys did not stop pulling the ropes. So they got exhausted by pulling the ropes. After, when they got exhausted means they got tired. When they got tired, they went back to home to find out why their father had not come to villages. On reaching homes, Intikuma and Quickerson, they met their eyes and strange and frightening. Strange means unusual. Strange means unusual. Unusually, they become very shocked by looking his father. The tight ropes around Anansi's middle had squeezed him completely. The tight ropes, where the rope had tied, that place completely squeezed him. After, the middle of his body, where the ropes had tightened, the middle of the body, where the rope had tightened, was thin as a reed. Reed means a tall, steep plant like grass found near the water. Where the rope had tightened, that place had happened like a reed. Reed means a tall, steep plant. Where that rope had tightened, that place had like a reed. Reed means a tall, steep plant like a grass found near the water. He is water. Is it? Yes. Dear children, here where the rope had tightened, that place had like a reed. That place has like a reed. Reed means a tall, steep plant like grass found near the water. And above and below the vest puffed out like a balloon. Above and below the vest puffed out like a balloon. Puffed means short, quick blast, wind or breathe. Short or quick blast, wind or breathe. Enhances above and below body happened like a puffed out. Puffed out means short, quick blast, wind or breathe. Finally, the sad truth was greedy Anansi had turned into a spider. He did not appearance as a man. At the end of the story, Anansi had turned into a spider. That's it? Yes, dear children, like the feast story in your textbook. Dear children, I hope all of you understood the story. If you did not understand any words, you can call to me. I will clarify you. Yes, dear children, in this class we have learned few new words with meaning. Unaware, no sign, embarrassed, strange, read, puffed. Is it? Dear children, you have to write these new words with meaning in your class workbook, and you have to read the textbook. And if you get any doubts, you can call to me. Yes, dear children, thank you for watching my video. Thank you, one and all.